we stopped it for one presenter before
Now
me.
I have the notification.
Now it's setting up for the YouTube Live.
Yes, it's now online.
Okay, my PPT is still on, right? Okay.
Yes.
So let me also explain the meaning of 1821. The Greek revolt in 1821 is actually in Turkish, it's usually called Mora isyanı or Mora ayaklanması, which simply means the Greek revolt in Peloponnese. When you look at the Turkish literature, academic literature, you can see these two namings. It refers to a rebellion or an uprising. And it's very rare to name it the War of Independence of Greeks in the Turkish context. It's important to analyze how contemporary contents in the digital world are portraying the Greek revolt of 1821. This is an historical event which was a turning point for all modern Greek history and the Ottoman's position in the Balkans in the upcoming century. So my paper is interested in the Greek revolt of 1821 and how it's portrayed in the Turkish digital content, such as news reports, blogs, opinion articles, YouTube videos, and social media posts. So my paper seeks to answer these two research questions. The first one is, how does the Turkish digital content represent 1821? And the second question is, what kind of adjectives, pronouns, labels are used in the content? The method and sample of my research is based on quantitative and qualitative content analysis. Research categories were built on two research questions that I mentioned before. Two questions were asked. These two questions were asked to each analyzed material, and the answers were coded into a coding sheet. The research sample consists of online digital content published and indexed by Google search. The time sample covers the period between March 2019 and March 2020. Most research materials in the sample are blogs, digital learning content, and news reports or opinion articles from different news corporations published in Turkish language. In total, I included 100 digital content to examine for the study. Let me summarize the findings. When we look at the findings, the quantitative findings, you can see 5 different categories that the most items, digital items, are associated with. When you look at the content about 1821, it's usually associated with today. So the political tool for today is the highest frequency when we look at the connections between the past and today's politics. And second one is massacre. I'm going to explain this soon. The word massacre is very common in the Turkish digital content when it comes to 1821. And also the idea of Western project is mentioned many times, as much as massacre on the list. And then some content related 1821 with the decay of Ottomans. And also there are some other points that are categorized in the other category. When we look at the qualitative findings, I would like to give some examples from the most common category, which is 1821 as a political tool for today. There is a quotation from a digital content. This is published by Turkish version of Euronews, and the former president of Greece, Prokopis Pavlopoulos, was visiting Tripolitsa, a city in the south of Greece, and the president says, we are sending messages from Tripolitsa to our neighbor Turkey. We, the Greeks, want to give up division and revenge. We want to live in peace and friendship. After 6 months, this time Pavlopoulos appeared on BBC's Turkish version, and he was talking about the celebrations of 1821 in Greece. He said, Molon lave to Turkey. The news item explains that expression was used towards the Persian army by the Spartans in ancient Greece, and it means come here if you have courage. So this shows that contemporary political discourses in Turkish-Greek relations are not only fed by the Ottoman past or the events in the 20th century, the contemporary discourses can be created by using even the ancient figures and stories. And another examples in my qualitative findings are related to the massacre in 1821. The word massacre was used many times in the digital content. There is a popular blog in Turkey which is called Ekşi Şeyler. In this blog, one author quotes William Alison Phillips, a British historian, while explaining the massacres in Tripolitsa towards the Turks of Peloponnese in the past. Phillips claims people were tortured before killed, roadsides were full of dead bodies, Muslim women and children were chopped like buffaloes. So this was also found in the digital content. Some nationwide Turkish news organizations, they go further and they call Tripolitsa as a genocide. An opinion article written by a Turkish journalist discusses 1821 in this kind of context. His article is mainly focusing on the massacre in Tripolitsa, and he names this event as the start of the Turkish genocide in the following century. A Turkish-made YouTube video about 1821 claims that 40,000 Turks and Jews were killed in a year in Peloponnese. Also, in another example from the digital content, one Turkish NGO spokesman drastically increases the numbers, and he claims that 200,000 Turks were killed in Peloponnese during the revolt in 1821. So let me finalize my findings with the conclusion. I asked the question, how does the digital content in Turkish language represent 1821? The most popular theme in the sample is using the topic of 1821 as a political tool for today. This theme covers the events by referring to today's political discussions between Turkey and Greece. The theme's discursive pattern is usually fed by politicians' comments and callings to the other side. The other popular theme is massacre, and it refers to how thousands of Turks of Peloponnese were killed during the revolt. The theme is mainly shaped by referring to historical research that was mostly conducted by Turkish historians. The theme is empowered by using several adjectives, guessing the number of casualties and some detailed descriptions of violence in the region. And the second question was, what kind of adjectives, pronouns, labels are used in the content? Calling Greece as the spoiled child of Europe is an important labeling to see the political and media-wise understanding of the digital content. The findings referring to Tripolitsa during the Greek revolt is the strongest link of the adjectives, pronouns, and labels found in the sample. Words such as to slaughter, brutality, bloodshed, war crimes, pogrom, and genocide were the leading ones to explain that Turks of Peloponnese disappeared after the Greek revolt of 1821. As a result, it can be argued that 1821 is still alive in Turkey. It's maybe forgotten in terms of its details, but it exists in the contemporary political and historical discussions and also in the digital contents in Turkish language. The content claims that Greek fights for independence was not a truly Greek-made business. It was performed by some Western powers who do not like Turks. Besides, the Turkish digital content strongly believes that what happened to Turks in Peloponnese is a huge massacre. After 200 years of 1821, it can be argued that the Turkish digital content usually employs 1821 to make the case in whatever it is claimed. So these are the bibliography that I made use of doing my research. Thank you very much for listening. And I can take questions at the end of the session.
Thank you so much. So let me unmute you and continue with our next presentation. The next presentation is from Ioana Costopoulou and Alatin Paksoy. Ioana will be the presenter, and the presenter name is Greek and Turkish News Media Coverage of the Refugee Crisis at Evros Marriage Border. Let me unmute you.
Hello everybody. Hope you are safe and healthy. I'm Ioana Costopoulou from Greece. I'm going to present an ongoing research that we are conducting with Alatin. Alatin, thank you very much for your support and cooperation. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, we can.
Okay, nice. So, sorry. Yeah. So Greek and Turkish, wait a minute, please. Greek and Turkish news media coverage of the refugee crisis at Evros-Merik border. Background of the incident. The civil war in Syria since 2011 created massive migration flows. Political turmoils and economic problems do not only affect Syria. Citizens of many different countries from the Middle East, Asia, and Africa migrate to Turkey either to set up a new life or find opportunities to reach EU countries. Turkey is already hosting 4 million Syrian refugees. Turkey and the EU signed a deal to cooperate in the refugee issues in the region. However, Turkey was not content with the EU's actions in the cooperation. Besides, Turkey warned the EU of a new refugee flow from the Syrian city of Idlib. While these problems were happening, the Syrian Air Force attacked a Turkish army brigade in Idlib on 27 February 2020. Following this air raid, Turkish officials announced that Turkey would not stop refugees who would like to go to Europe by walking the land border. Thousands of refugees and migrants headed to the border city of Edirne and started waiting at the Turkish-Greek border by the river Evros-Merik. The move prompted Greece to shore up its borders as the government insisted it would not allow anyone to enter. The EU warned the Turkish president that it expected Ankara to abide by a €6 billion deal to stem migration to its member states. Crisis reporting. When crisis occur, news media have a critical role not only in informing public about what happened, but also in shaping public opinion about who is responsible for causing or solving the key problems of the crisis. These challenges are related with the vast overall amount of information and the need to monitor several platforms at the same time. Journalists' position between an involved actor and detached observer, entailing the dichotomies of engaged, non-participating, active, passive, empathic, dispassionate, close, distant, becomes more palpable and pressing. Journalists and media become central to the politics of conflict, which imports specific kinds of importance to crisis report practices. Sample and method. For our analysis, as I told you, is an ongoing research, so I'm going to present the results we have so far. For our analysis, we monitor and collected news items from 4 news portals with the highest traffic from Greece and Turkey. Websites were pro-government, Eleftheros Typos, Sabah, while the other 2 were oppositional, Εφημερίδα των Συντακτών and Sogzu. The research sample consists of 200 news items, 50 news items per portal, and covers the events that happened on the Greek-Turkish border of Evros-Merik between 28 February and 11 March 2020. During the 13-day period analysis, sum up to 200 items concerning the refugee crisis in Evros.
Ioana, can you hear me? I think we have some problem with your network.
I think Ioana lost her connection.
Yes, I guess so.
So can we pass to the next presentation, because we don't know when she will come back.
Okay.
Let's move on, because then when she comes back, she can carry on.
Okay. We will go on with Gül Oral, reconsidering the impact of migration in the post-Arab Spring periods.
Yes.